everybody, it's your girl Nickey, and this is the cast of the Statesville's Vanguard.
My name is Kisha, and we are going to air every Wednesday.
My name is Brian. We chose the name Vanguard because it means a group of people who are out in the forefront in the development of new ideas.
Hi everybody, my name is Felina. We will talk about different topics in Statesville and around the world.
Now, today's topic is something that's really important to all of us. You've heard about it in the news, you have seen it on TV, you read it in a newspaper. It's about our police and the community. And so we decided that we're going to talk about these things and invite you into the conversation because we want to know what you think, and we're going to tell you what we think.
So about March 25th or so, we were on Avenue, and I saw a police officer engaging with many of the kids in the community, and I was blown away because you don't see that too often. And it was a Caucasian officer with a lot of minority children, not just African American, but different races of children in the community. And we stopped and we turned and we sat there for a second and watched the officer, and he was completely engaged in them. It wasn't looking like he was forced to be there. He looked like he wanted to be there with the kids. And as the kids were talking, he was just listening to them. And as each one was talking, he was giving them his undivided attention. And that's what really drew my eye to him.
That sounds like community policing. I think they've gotten away from that. Talk about they used to have a beat cop. They used to go around the neighborhood and knew everybody. And when something happened, you know, sometimes the information shook loose a little easier than it does now because everybody knows the policeman is in the area and they talk a whole lot easier. Now it's like, you know, snitches get stitches. They don't talk to the cops for any reason, whether they see an old lady get punched in the mouth and robbed or whether, you know, it's a drug deal or anything. Nobody wants to talk. And you could really free up a lot of information in the neighborhood if you did community policing again.
Well, what I did learn from all of that, my post actually had over 300 shares and over about 700 likes. And it actually went to the Statesville Police Department, and they posted it on their page. And what I found out from that was that Officer Tubbs is a part of a group called PACT, and it's police and community together. And J.D. Williams is the one that heads that group. And I spoke with Officer Tubbs today, and he said it's completely voluntary for the officers to be a part of that. And he was just telling me how he loves the kids in the community, and that's why he chose to be a part of PACT.
That's what's up.
Yes. Wow. So I guess that's getting back to the community policing. Yeah. And one of the things you'll see is that I asked him, you know, what do y'all talk about? You know, they talk about life. They talk about, you know, schooling. And he could be the only adult that actually listens to those kids sometimes. So it's just a beautiful thing what he's doing in the community. And I'm sure he's not the only one. He just happened to be the one that I caught. Right. So we were able to do an interview on Officer Tubbs, and so we'll get to see and hear more about him and why he does the things that he does in the community. So Officer Tubbs, I just wanted to come out here today and to this Easter egg hunt, and I've seen you do several things in the community. What made you get so involved in the community, in the Statesville community?
Well, I'm new to the area, and I work here, and it's part of my community too. And there's a lot of things that need to be fixed, and I'm not saying we can fix them all, but we can work together to fix them. And that's the whole point of this today, was to work with other partners in the community, like Visions Outreach, JC's Auto Body Detail, the FOP, Leo's Bears, and I'm missing one, Statesville Housing Authority. Okay. And we worked together to come up with this. It was interesting. There's some things I forgot to do, but we'll learn it next year or other events. But this is my little friend Destiny here.
Destiny, is that your buddy? You like Officer Tubbs? Awesome. He's a good police officer? Well, good. Sometimes when you're with the children, what do y'all talk about? Do they just talk about everyday things?
We talk about school, about homework, and about sports, and whatever else they want. They ask all kinds of intrusive questions, but sometimes we have to dodge them, but we get through them. And I just like kids. I like kids a lot more than I like adults, so sorry.
Do a lot of them say they want to be police officers when they grow up?
Some of them do. Some of them want to be firefighters. I can't harp on them too much for that. Destiny's going to be my partner one day.
All right. Awesome.
She's got her little badge.
Well, in a world world, we see so much negativity about police officers. We appreciate you for all that you're doing, and we thank you from the Statesville community.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
We can't do this without y'all too.
Awesome. Thank you.
Don't wave, Destiny.
Wave.
I just wanted to say that, you know, we do hear a lot of negativity. We hear about the negativity with the cops and things like that, but it was good. It's good to see officers who are in the community and doing good things in the community, like the Officer Tubbs that we saw, that I saw that day. And come to find out, you know, he's big in the community. That's just what he does.
Especially with so much of the negativity going on with, you know, the things that you see on the news with the police. It's very disheartening for the community to see this stuff, and they almost kind of feel like they don't even want to be connected in any way to the police. Even when they walk up to them, it's like this negative feeling that they have when they see them. And so to see somebody doing something like that is what's up. But let's talk a little bit about some of those negative things that we've heard though on the news recently.
Of course, you know, we've seen that with the police brutality, the unnecessary roughness, and it seems like it's targeted against our African American males most of the time. And the males are sometimes scared, and sometimes I think it becomes they're scared and the police don't know what to think about them. So I don't know if it kind of rubs off on everybody the wrong way. So
well, I think the way policing is done now has a lot to do with it, because the police have basically been militarized. You know, they have all this, you know, riot gear. They have, some places even have tanks. If you treat a neighborhood like a war zone, what do you expect?
absolutely.
And then even for like the smaller incidences where it would be maybe for whatever reason, if the officer decided for whatever reason to like stop a black man that's going across the street for jaywalking, why he would do that, for whatever reason, you know, the light may not be there, but for him to stop him for jaywalking. And then I think I saw a post on Facebook where he just forcefully wrestled the man to the ground, and the next thing you know, it's like 6 police cars pulling up for just one man. And then as the second car pulled up, the officer said something to him and they like jumped on him. Like, he's already down. What is the purpose? So when you have kids like that may be in the neighborhood that see that, they would back away from wanting to have anything to do with a police officer. You know, when they go overboard. And what we're seeing now is a lot of officers going overboard for no reason.
Case in point, just recently, I mean, this just happened like in the last couple of weeks, maybe even more recent than that. There were instances where 2 people were detained, you know, black males were in the ground, and a second cop comes up and kicks them in the face. Like, right in the face. One was, he was fired the next day, but one got what, death duty?
Wow.
I think, you know, being fired should be standard
Yes.
in that situation, because it's clear. It's on videotape. You know, you can't make it gray and say, well, you don't know what the situation was. I know he was detained with cuffs on him and he got kicked in the face by another cop.
Yeah,
And I saw a video and I was totally disgusted. A lady was pregnant and she constantly was telling the officer, I'm pregnant, officer, I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant. And the officer actually treated her and another lady was with her like animals.
Wow.
And he slammed to the ground. And another lady was with the one whose video was just screaming, you know, her baby, her baby, her baby. And it was just like the officer could care less that even if she was lying, she being slammed to the ground. That was disheartening. I was totally disgusted by that.
Yeah, in an instance like that, just to be safe, you just assume it's true. You find out later.
Right.
There is one example of a cop that I followed on Instagram for a long time. His name is Tommy Norman. He's in Little Rock, Arkansas. I suggest anybody out there, if you have an Instagram, I think it's tnorman23. If you follow him, he has videos up every day of him in the community with the older people, the younger people, videos, pictures. He's constantly doing things for people, attending people's graduations, ceremonies, everything. A true community cop. And to me, that should be the standard.
That's it. Well, I think what happens with a lot of these police is, well, it's twofold, because there's something that's happening in the community and then there's also something happening with the police. The thing that's happening, of course, you know, there's always been issues where the police have been rough. Like, we used to watch like the cop shows on TV and they would be doing some of the same stuff that you see now, slamming them down on the ground, you know, different things like that. But the media portrays it in this certain light, and so you really don't get a full picture of what's going on. A lot of times you get a skewed vision of what's going on, and it causes, you know, all of these riots and these uproars. But the thing is, the community should still learn how to respect the authority that we've been given. Now, I'm not saying that these police are right for doing what they're doing. I'm just saying now it makes it so that when you getting stopped now, instead of you just saying yes sir, no sir, answering the questions, doing whatever it is that you need to do, they're like, what? I know my rights. You don't know your rights. You need to be quiet. That's what you need to do. And then later address your rights, because it's getting people hurt. And then, you know, the police, of course, it seems like, you know, nobody's doing anything about what's going on, or it feels like nobody's doing anything. And it feels real good when you find a police officer that actually is getting in trouble for what he's doing, or being held accountable for what it is that he's doing. But, you know, I think it's a twofold issue. It's not just the police, and it's not just the community. And these are isolated incidents. It's not everywhere. It's not all the time. You know, these are, I mean, I've had encounters with police officers, some who weren't so kind and some who were. And those who weren't kind, I just maintained the same level of respect. And I took my ticket, and yes sir, and went down the road. And as a result, I think I'm still alive today.
And I think that's big what you just said. That the media is in control here. The media plays a big part in this, because they put out there things that they want us to talk about, things they want us to get mad about. And one thing that I did myself, I went and researched. But there are a lot of Caucasians who are getting arrested, a lot of Caucasians who are getting wrestled down, but we don't see that in the news. All we see is when we get done like that. So what happens? We get upset, we get outraged, we get mad, and we get upset with police officers. We put them in this big bucket and say they're all the same. There are different officers who act different ways. Some of them are, like you said, some of them are nasty, some of them are very nice, and some of them do the same things to Caucasians that they do. It's just in them. That's just how they are. But sometimes we don't see the other side of what happens.
And then we as adults have to take responsibility to how we react and respond when we see our black males, or however we're negatively portrayed in our encounters with the police officers by the media. We have to be careful how we portray that to our children, because we don't want to put in them, like you were saying, that all cops are bad, because they're not. Every time you see a white cop in a blue suit, he's bad, he's gonna get you, and that's not the case. Like you also said, we also need to teach them during those incidences, make it a teachable moment. Talk to them about, now how could this have been avoided? If you get in this situation, because I have a son, he's 14, he looks like he's older. How are you going to handle these situations? I need you to be mindful, because I need you to come home. So, and I don't need to be getting that telephone call. How would you handle yourself in these different situations? So, you know, be responsible as an adult, and let your parenting continue. And a lot of times, if we teach them to be quiet at home, when they get in these situations with the police officers, they won't be so rah-rah with their mouths, you know, to be like, all right, I need to get home. Let me just, you know, agree to disagree.
Exactly.
So I can get home. And like you said, get my ticket. There you go. And you know, get my lawyer if necessary, and make it home.
That's right.
But a lot of times we're, no, I'm gonna need you to shut your mouth and get whatever's happening. Let's go through it and get home. Get this over with as quick as possible.
Yeah, well, I've been on both sides of it too. When I was younger, I think I had more negative experiences with cops. But since I've been older, I don't see cops very much. I mean, in passing, I don't get stopped much. But I will tell you a recent story. My car, the inspections I did, and I hadn't got the tag redone or anything. So I just happened to take my car. I took a trip to Sheetz, and it was after 12. I was just gonna run in there and get a soda. I went down and came back up, and I came out of the parking lot, and I didn't have my lights on, so a cop passed me, and he got behind me. I'm like, oh man, because I knew all my stuff wasn't right. And he pulled me over, and then he walked up, and he was like, you know why I stopped you? I said, yeah. I said, I know my tag's out or whatever. I said, my lights is off too, because I turned them on after I saw him. And he was like, he said, yeah, I thought you were drunk, you know, at first. He said, this time of night on a Saturday night, you know, usually that's a drunk drive. He said, but I don't believe that anymore. Just hold on for a second. So I gave him my license. He went back and everything. And he came back and he was like, just get it taken care of, man, Mr. Brody, you gone. And then, you know, so you have, if you act right, sometimes you can have a situation like that too. And I didn't get a ticket or anything. So, you know, he was he was within his rights to give me a ticket, but he didn't. He said, that's gonna cost you $200, and I don't wanna do that to you.
That's what's up. And you bring up a really important point, just because when you say if you act right, the thing is, you know, our generation, not just our generation, but the generation coming up, a lot of them don't feel like they need to be respectful or accountable. It's like everything is on somebody else. In other words, how you treat me is going to determine whether or not I give you respect rather than first giving that respect.
Right.
And I think that our community really needs to change that. And we need to be the example as adults, because we act like kids. The police are acting like kids, the adults are acting like kids. Like, you don't talk to me like that. No. We need to show each other mutual respect. And I think that when you show that respect, then the cop won't feel like, now I got something to prove. You know, and then our kids aren't like, you know, man, I hate the cops and blah, blah, blah. No, what you need to do is you need to, like you were saying, you know, you need to show that respect so you can get home.
Right.
And just, yeah, because I hate that our generation has done that. It's kind of like we made people less accountable, and now they go to school, the teachers are wrong now. The cops are wrong. Everybody in authority is wrong, and you doing wrong, but you ain't wrong.
Come on.
We need to fix that.
I see that all the time. Like kids, nothing's ever their fault. They're like they're madder at you for catching them than what they did wrong.
Right.
They mad at you like, you know, oh, you shouldn't have saw me.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, for real, that's how they are. Like, man, like, you know, basically, they don't say it, but it's like, if you wasn't looking, you wouldn't have saw it. You know, it's that attitude.
Yeah, they feel like they have an entitlement. They feel entitled, and that comes with parenting, where we need to pay attention to how we're raising our children, giving them everything, making them feel like they are, you know, up on this pedestal, nothing can go wrong, they're invisible, like nothing can happen to them. And with that comes that lack of respect, you know, and my kids are only 9 and 6. And since they were born, I mean, since they could talk, since I could instill things in them, you know, they know who the officers are in our community. And so we actually live in Troutman. So we actually get to, our police officer comes to the school, and when we see him in the store, he's talking to us. So I'm teaching them early, you know, that's an officer. You respect the officers. You respect people, period. My kids say yes, sir, and no, sir. You know, or yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am still. Yeah, I know that's old-fashioned to some people, but that 9 and 6-year-old that has the last name Harris will be saying yes, sir,
that's
and
right.
no, sir.
You do hear how they say in the community, like you'll tell them, say yes, man. They be like,
They
yeah,
say no.
say that. Oh, no, yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
people say that all the time to my kids, and now people are shocked that my kids hold the door open for people. You know, parents, we as parents, we have to keep this up. You know, we can't blame everybody else for this, and we're not raising our kids to be, you know, respectable.
All right, we're going to switch it up just a little bit and talk briefly about the situation with the missing girls in D.C., the African-American and Latino girls that are missing in that area. What have you guys heard?
Honestly, I just heard there was a lot of black girls missing in D.C. And then I heard it was spread to North Carolina, and that it was in Atlanta. And I don't even know if all of that was true. I think people started making up stuff and adding on things to it.
Well, they were saying that that it wasn't being publicized as much as it should. It wasn't in the media as much as it should be.
I think sometimes these stories grow legs. I did a little research on it, and what happened is I think there was a graphic that was put up about 20-some girls missing in 24 hours or something like that. That might not be exactly right, but it was a little embellished. What I found out is there's been 501 cases of missing girls, and 22 are unsolved right now. So that's a little more accurate depiction of what's going on. And a lot of them were found safely. You know, sometimes kids run away, and it has to go on the stat sheet even if you're missing for a couple of days, and they find you safely. And then, you know, of course, you never hear about them being found.
Right.
But I heard about it being sex trafficking and all this other stuff. And, you know, some of it actually may be that you still have 22 that are unsolved. You don't know where they are. But, you know, we need to, you know, kind of put a cap on how we want to run rapid with some stories, you know.
And then we be running around scared and telling our kids to be scared. It's just like all these things we should be scared of all the time.
Somebody snatch you up.
Well, although I still want to tell my kids.
Right.
My mama told me when I was growing up, girl, you better walk around with the dog on your face. When somebody says, hey, you say, hey, keep on. So I get it. But yeah.
So even though they were talking about it was the girls, and then I heard that some of it may not be true, I think that people still should be careful. I think that young girls should still be careful, because there could still be some type of sex trafficking or people snatching young girls.
I'm sure that's happening somewhere.
And so I called, you know, a family member who has my children a lot, and I was like, you know, pay attention when you go in the store, make sure, you know, nobody's following, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, Well, I thought it was just young girls, and I thought it was just in D.C. I said, I don't care where it is, and I don't care what people are snatching, still watch my children.
Exactly.
You know, we still have to be careful. We can't just be careless with kids in the store, because there are still, it could be people trying to mimic those types of, you know, things. So people still snatch children, regardless
in a
of
market like that, you know, there's always a market for fresh bodies. So it doesn't matter where they get it from.
Yeah, right. I think it was a clip on Facebook a couple of weeks ago, and I know it's a shame that we have to like get our news from Facebook instead, or social media instead of like the actual news, where it's credible. But anyway, there was a clip to where they showed a family, mother and her children, in line at the grocery store, and they were getting ready to check out. She's taking her things out of the cart to put them on the conveyor, and some guy just walked in the store and tried to scoop the baby up out of the front part of the cart and go out the door. And the mother, she just turned around and was like this. And it was another guy close to the door, the baby. So they tackled him to get the baby out. But I'm like, he just walked in the door. So I'm like, was he scoping him outside to see what's what? He just walked in the door, scooped up the baby, and went out the door. And, you know, I read on some more. He was not family. So he was not related to them in any way. They did not know him, no connection. So I'm like, was he stalking them? Or is he just crazy? Or what? But, you know, regardless, black, white, little boy, little girl, everybody need to watch their kids.
That's right.
That reminds me of a time, I was actually a teenager, because my mom, I grew up in D.C., and my mom would always tell us, you know, you need to make sure that you are definitely paying attention to all of your surroundings. And so one day I had gone all the way out to Virginia. I was supposed to meet my friend, and she, something happened where we couldn't get together, so I had to turn back around and go back home on the metro. Well, I was 5 cents short. And there was this guy sitting there, and I was just like, do you have 5 cents? And he was just like, yeah, so he gave me 5 cents. Well, I guess that was his cue to follow me, because he then began following me. We sat down on the train, he sat over with me, so I started feeling uncomfortable, like, okay, this dude is following me. So I looked over at when the doors opened, there was a lady who had gotten in, and I saw her, and I ran over to her. I was just like, hey, how you doing? And I just whispered in her ear. I was like, can you please act like you know me, because I think this guy's following me. So she was like, hey girl, you know, how you doing, and blah, blah, blah. And then it was time for me to get off, so I got off. I hurried up and, you know, went through the crowd, went upstairs to get on my bus. And about 2 minutes later, here he comes walking down the street. So I kind of hid behind the little thing there, the, what's the things, whatever, the Metro bus thingy. And anyway, so he comes around, and he was just like, I thought that I lost you. And I was like scared to death.
Oh no.
So the good thing about Metro is when you got that transfer, you can get all over the town. So anyway, I got on the bus, and the buses come like back to back. So I got on the bus, and he got on after me. I went straight to the back and got off. And then I got on the very next bus that was behind it, because it was right behind it. And the bus that I happened to get on was one that it was like, this was the last stop before it got all the way across town it didn't make any more stops. But the bus that he was on took all the stops through town. So as soon as I got off the bus, I ran through the alley. I don't even usually go through the alley, but I ran through the alley, and I hurried up and ran home. But my thing is, you know, we got to teach our kids to pay attention to their surroundings and know, you know, because most time people ain't thinking like that. You know what I'm saying? But because my mama taught me, I knew that. Okay, well, that's our show. This is the Statesville's Vanguard with your girl, Nickey.
And Kisha.
Alina.
Brian.
And y'all have a good one. We'll see y'all next week.